Hi, hello, and welcome to a new episode of Release. I'm your host, Adriana, and I am so honored and grateful that you've taken the time to listen to what I have to say. And today, I want to talk about forgiveness. I did make an episode about forgiving ourselves, self-forgiveness. That was episode 29. But this episode is going to dive into another realm of forgiveness, which is, of course, forgiving others. And just a side note, it is construction season. There's construction happening close by. So if you hear some noises in the background, people are doing their jobs. I apologize in advance, but we just have to forgive them. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to do that. Okay, but seriously, back to the episode. For me, personally, forgiveness is a tricky thing. And I can't even just say personally, because I know for many people, forgiveness isn't, self-forgiveness or forgiving others is not a straight path. For me, when I think about it, grief and forgiveness sometimes, a lot of the times, walk hand in hand, and sometimes forgiveness is also a cycle of grief. Sometimes you do feel like you've forgiven the person, and then after you're like, oh, I just can't believe that they did that to me. And then you feel yourself getting angry, and then you release a part of it, and then you feel yourself mourning them again. It can go on and on and on and on. But today we're just going to talk about small ways that we can conceptualize forgiving others, and also how we can work on forgiving others. For me, now the way that I look at forgiveness is with my knowledge of psychology so far, and my knowledge of spirituality so far, and looking into different teachings and seeing how the human period works, seeing how the human brain works, seeing how we react to things, seeing how we are conditioned. From the day we are born, we are conditioned by our environment and by the people surrounding us to be a certain thing. So I recognize that everybody has their own inner world. They have their own conditioning. They have their own pains, their own struggles, their own good, bad, whatever you want to say. They have their own inner world. They have their own perception of the world, and they are going to show up in the world based on their conditioning. They can't show up the way you want them to show up, because you guys have been conditioned differently. And when I say conditioning, I don't necessarily mean it as a bad thing. I just mean it in the sense that our upbringing, our environment programs us to be a certain way. And sometimes we do things that we think are okay, but to somebody else, and because of their conditioning, they are hurt by that. And that's what makes things a little bit complicated, because somebody may be like, you really hurt my feelings, and then somebody else may be like, but that's how me and my family speak to each other. I have a really good example, actually. My mom and I, like, sometimes she will say, Jamaicans are very ruthless. And sometimes they speak to their children in ways that are really hurtful. And I'll say to my mom, I don't like when you say that to me. And she's like, oh, but like everybody says it, you're so sensitive, blah, 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 blah. And I had to remind her, like, we are not the same. We are conditioned differently. And I feel right now, with my sensitivity, whatever you want to call me, I feel right now that what you're saying is hurting my feelings, and I would like you to stop it. In my perspective of the situation, I am hurt. I may feel like she's saying hurtful things to me, but to her, she is conveying a sentiment that she's probably heard many times, and she's gotten herself, that is supposed to not be hurtful, but to just be something that you take lightly. And that is something that we have to keep in mind all the time, especially when people hurt us, because 99.9999999 100% of the time, honestly, a lot of the times when people do things that are hurtful, or people do things that really cause us to feel unloved or unsatisfied in the relationship, it's because they are projecting those inner worlds. They are projecting their understanding of reality, their personal understanding of reality, onto reality, and you exist in their proximity, so they are projecting that onto you. So sometimes when you say, how could you, you have to recognize that it's that you personally would not do it, but they have their own understandings and their own perceptions of what is good and what is bad, and what they will do and what they don't see as a consequence, what they don't see as harmful, etc., etc., etc. Just because they hurt you because of their projection, because they are projecting, because they have pain, because they are also suffering, doesn't mean that you need to excuse their behavior. It does not mean that you need to give them a little get out of jail free card because, oh, they didn't know better. Absolutely fucking not. Absolutely not. I'm just gonna start right now. I'll go into detail about it later on in the episode, but I'm gonna say this right now. If somebody is hurting you, you don't need to go back into their brain and into their psychology and talk about, oh, when they were 2, this happened to them, so this is why they're doing that. Absolutely fucking not. They're doing something to you right now, especially if they are of a certain age. A child may not know better, but when you are an adult, you are supposed to be able to, or begin to, discover your own thoughts and discover what you think is right or wrong. And you better stand on whatever you do to somebody. Honestly and truly, you better stand on it. And you better not excuse their behavior. For me, being a people pleaser, working through that, I definitely used to excuse people's behavior when they did horrible, terrible, disgusting, despicable things to me. I would excuse their behavior because in my mind, I'm like, I wouldn't do that to you. You must be hurting. That's why you hurt me. And my initial response is, I need to love you more. I need to show you that you don't need to hurt other people, that I would feel this sort of pity for them, even before understanding. Every time somebody would do something to me, there was this feeling of, yeah, okay, you hurt me, but why? Like, why did you feel it was necessary for you to do that to me? And sometimes the projection goes a lot deeper. Sometimes they may feel a certain way about you, and they may treat you in a certain way because of how they perceive you, when in reality, again, projection, that is not how you are or who you are. It's just how they see you. But this ability to recognize that they are in pain is not a way to excuse their behavior. It is a way to empathize. You recognize that they're going through it, and maybe for some people, I had to recognize that they did selfish things to me, and they were backstabbing, and they were just not great to me because they have had to survive. That is how they had to survive. They had to only look out for themselves. And me, I grew up on love. I grew up on opening my arms to everyone. I think I've told this story, but I remember when I was younger, I was thinking about it yesterday. When I was younger, my mom would give me lunch money, and she would always give me extra because she knew that I would come home and say, "Mommy, this person didn't have any food today, so I bought them lunch." And like I said in the beginning, forgiveness is very tricky because there are certain things that are way more easily forgivable than others. I actually used to have a friend. We were friends for a very, 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 very long time. And they did some not nice things to me, some really traumatizing things to me. And I kept forgiving them. And every time I would forgive them and let them back in. But after a while, I had to recognize that this person is not trustworthy. You have shown me multiple times that you are not trustworthy. And in this, it's not even like I could say, oh, but if I was in that situation, then I wouldn't have done it. Because I literally have examples of the exact same situations happening, and me choosing a different path and choosing to be a loyal friend versus them choosing a different path and then basically trying to hide it from me, or trying to convince me that it wasn't that deep. But anyway, I think this was the beginning of 2022. I said to this person, I don't think that we can be friends anymore. Sure, I can see you around, but I don't think that we should be close like that. Like, I didn't feel because of my people-pleasing tendencies, I didn't want to say, oh, I'm going to cut you off, whatever. But I said to them, because what they did to me was extremely painful. And the thing, it wasn't, as I said, they've done multiple things. But the thing that I felt in that moment was not unforgivable, but it was the thing that was most impacting me, and the thing that I felt like I couldn't be friends with somebody truly and honestly after they had done that to me. And after I told them, they sent me this long ass paragraph about how we're family and how like we can work on it, blah 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 blah, whatever. Then at the end of 2022, I sent them a long paragraph being like, I am scared of what it was in, I think, November. I sent them this paragraph saying like, I'm scared of what this winter season will bring for me, because last winter was really hard and I felt very ungrounded, and I felt basically on the brink of sanity. Like I felt like that would have been one of my last moments, or some of my last moments on earth. Like, it was really, really, truly a hard time for me. And then a few hours later, this person replies to me, and they sent me this very, 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 very long paragraph about how I was wallowing and how I need to stop and how I'm allowing these things to happen to me, blah, 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 blah. That I shared my concerns about feeling sad about something possibly happening. I didn't say that I thought it was going to happen. I was sharing my concerns with someone that I thought was my close friend, but obviously you've shown me multiple times that that is not how you saw me. So with that message, I was very pissed. Like, I looked at the message and I was like, nah, fuck this. I didn't reply for, I think, 5 or 6 days. Because I was like, the fuck am I supposed to say to this? Like, honestly and truly, like, how am I supposed to dignify this? And then after that whole interaction was basically the end of our friendship. And the first thing that I have to say after that story, the reason why I told that story, is that on one side, like, I was trying to mend the relationship, and they were trying to keep me around. But when it seemed like, okay, I wasn't beneficial anymore, or whatever view that they have of, again, people's projections and their perceptions of reality is what they're going to put onto you. And if she sees me as something that I am not, and something that I do not claim to be. But what I was saying, the reason why I brought up that story is to say that we need to stop forcing relationships that have run their course. Clearly that relationship had run its course, because at a point, after you have hurt me in these large ways multiple times, like I said before, you're going to build up silent resentment. And all in all, I wanted to say that at the end, I felt relieved. I felt relief because at first I didn't realize that it was relief. At first I didn't realize that I was honestly happy that this person was no longer in my life, because the things that they had done to me were affecting me. And then I was allowing this person that was hurting me consistently to still be in my life, and still giving them opportunities to hurt me. And I realized that after the separation always brings clarity. In the separation, in the primary stages of separation, I recognized all of the other ways that this person was hurting me, and the ways that the friendship was already falling apart, or the ways that this person was not being a good friend to me, or whatever the case may be. And for you, your situation might be different. You may not feel relief after. You may feel, I mean, again, like I said, forgiveness and grief go hand in hand, and it's a cycle. And now I may be saying that I feel relief, but within that relief, there may still be sadness. There may still be mourning. There may still be anger, because now that there's separation and you can see things clearly, you may develop some frustration, because you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that I allowed this to happen, or I can't believe that this person did this to me while I did blah, 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 blah for them. Whatever the case may be. But regardless of whatever feeling you feel after, I genuinely believe that anything that is for you cannot be not for you. It will not pass you. So if something is meant to be in your life, they would still be. And I also believe that if someone valued you and your opinion and who you were as a person, especially if it's somebody that knows you really well, they wouldn't do certain things that would risk them possibly losing you. For me, love in all of its facets is how I operate in the world. I love to love, and friendships are really important to me. So when I am friends with someone, especially really, really close friends, because I have a very small circle of friends, so I make sure that I am loving them in the ways that I would like to be loved in that friendship. And I believe that once you care and love somebody, then you will take the time to be extra careful when it comes to doing things that may possibly hurt them. And I also wanted to talk about how, as forgiveness is a cycle, it can take years to truly forgive somebody. It can take a lot of time to really release them. It can take a lot of time for you to really get them out of your system completely. And you don't need to rush the process. You take your time, you go through your emotions, and slowly but surely you will begin to forgive this person if you're open to forgiving them. The first thing you have to do is be open to forgiving them. Another thing that is important, you do not need closure. The disrespect was enough closure. The pain was enough closure. The ongoing betrayal was enough closure. You do not need closure from somebody that has hurt you. Because like I said, adults, you did what you did and you know what you did. So I'm gonna need you to stand on it. And whatever comes after you made this decision, because you are a person with your own thoughts and you have free will to do whatever you want to do, stand on it. Stand on what you did and be ready to accept the consequences. You have to allow people to take accountability. You have to say, you did this to me and I don't need to stick around for any of that. Block. I'm such an advocate for blocking, deleting photos, deleting numbers, deleting whatever it is you need to delete and get out of your life. Get them clean. Throw away things that they have given you, things that remind you of them. Do what you need to do, because you don't need them in your energy at all. And I know that a lot of the things that I say and a lot of things that I'm saying in this episode and in the podcast generally are easier said than done, but they are things that we need to acknowledge first, and then we bring them into our reality, then we work towards them. A lot of people, sometimes they will apologize only because they have gotten caught. They will only apologize because they weren't able to hide. They weren't able to get away with it. And I mean, like, get away with it in terms of betraying your trust or hurting you, but you not knowing. So you continue to give them the love and the care that you have always given them. I was in a relationship with someone for almost 2 years, and this person was unfaithful. And when they came to me and they were like, oh, this happened, they started crying, blah, 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 whatever. But they also told me that before it happened, they knew that that would be the end of the relationship. And that triggered me so much, because I was like, okay, so you recognize that the relationship that you are in would be jeopardized by you being unfaithful, and you do it, and then you tell the person that you're in a relationship with about the situation, and also that you knew that it would be over after that. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Why are you crying, babe? Like, I didn't force you to do anything. Why are you crying to me? What am I supposed to do? But again, of course, because I say this now, and I can say this from like a distanced view. But at the time, even though I was mad and this person was crying, my first instinct is to comfort them. And I did. I mean, I did comfort them, but again, there's that resentment being built up still being like, okay, I see someone in need or someone in pain, I'm gonna help. But at the same time, the person that is comforting you is the person that you hurt. How does that work? I don't. And one of the last things I wanted to say is, or in this part of the episode, I wanted to say that forgiveness is also for you. Forgiveness is for you. Fuck that other person. Obviously, I don't mean it in that way. I mean, to hell with that person. When you forgive, you lighten your load. You're choosing to close a chapter. You're choosing to move on. You are choosing to set that person free. And honestly, karma will do her thing. Karma will handle them. It's not your job to get revenge. It's not your getting your lick back. People talking about, oh yeah, this person cheated, so I'm gonna cheat and get my lick back. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't seek revenge because, again, if someone cheats on you and then you're gonna cheat back, I don't see how that works. Why are you in the relationship? Also, now you have been unfaithful to that person, so now you are just increasing your bad karma. Like, it's just not worth it to me personally. I believe that I'm gonna just allow the universe to do its thing. Like, everything happens for a reason, and I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna live my life. I'm gonna live my life, and I'm gonna keep being who I am. And when their time comes, it'll come. Period. Yeah. Retribution, justice is always, it'll always be. The universe loves balance, so things will be balanced. If it's not today, it may be 10 years from now, maybe 5 months from now, but it'll happen. And just because you forgive someone doesn't mean you forget. You can use it as a lesson. You can use it as a tool as how to not allow people to treat you in other relationships. And just because you forgive someone does not mean they need access to your life. It doesn't mean that you need to unblock them or you need to reach out to them or whatever the fuck. You can forgive someone and have them blocked. You can forgive someone and delete their number. You can forgive someone and not want to be in their energy or give them access to your energy. Period. So I also wanted to talk about things, I guess, more practical ways that we can deal with forgiving other people. So for me, I do a lot of journaling. I talk about journaling all the time. I love to write, not just poetry, but I just love to write my thoughts out. It's just very therapeutic, and it does help. It definitely does help. And for this, you can try, get a piece of paper. If you have a journal, open your journal to a fresh page, write the date. I always date my journal entries. I feel like it's very important. You look back and you say, okay, a year ago I was dealing with this, and in this moment, a year after, I am feeling this way. So the first thing that I want you to do on that piece of paper is try and make a list of the ways that they have hurt you. Maybe small, maybe big. Write the ways that they have hurt you. And then I want you, underneath it, I want you to begin to rant. I want you to express your feelings. I want you, if you need to do a little swearing, you do whatever you need to do, but I want you to get every single thought about that person that is on your mind, get it out. And it can be 1 page, it can be 10, it can be 3, whatever, but just write to your heart's content. And this is a way to release this pent up energy that you may have towards this person, get it flowing, bring the concerns and bring the feelings to the surface so that you can address them. And the best part about this is that you can do it as many times as you want. You can return to the topic as many times as you want. You can write them or you can write about it 17,000 times, as many times as you need, until you feel like, okay, I have released this. And then when you feel ready, and again, sometimes you may not ever feel ready, but when it comes to the point that you feel tired of carrying the burden, then you will release it. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, like, once you feel tired of carrying a weight around, you will be so ready to release it. And when that moment comes, I want you to write a letter of forgiveness. And then again, we date our page, and then we write, "Dear," insert name here, "I forgive you for blah, 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 blah." And again, that can be as long as you need it to be, but this is just about, after we've gotten all our thoughts together, now we are saying, okay, this is the closure. This is the proper closure that we're getting without that person, right? Say, "I forgive you for." And then if you feel like you never get there, or you feel like you're not getting there, and you feel like you're ready to release it and you're tired, but you can't get yourself to write the words, "I forgive you," in that letter, I have written letters like this before. And in that letter, I've written things like, "Source," whatever your Godhead's name is, or even universe, "please help me to forgive." That may even be your list there, blah, 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 blah. "I may not be able to forgive you now, but I'm asking the universe to help me to forgive them. Help me to empathize. Help me to release them. Help me to free myself from them. Help me to be a better person. Help me to not hold resentment." Whatever it is, ask the universe, and watch how slowly you begin to find yourself at peace. And again, this forgiveness letter may happen many, many times until you finally get to the point where you're like, "I forgive you for hurting me," period. That may be your letter. You don't need to go into the details anymore. Just say, "I forgive you for hurting me," period. And leave that person aside. After a while, you will feel light. Because you deserve to feel light. You deserve to be loved, and you deserve to be in relationships where you feel loved. And I love you. Okay. And that's all that I have to say for today. Thank you guys for listening. Again, I love you so much. And I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye.